Jerusalem. Let's go further in depth now as we are joined by Ambassador James Woolsey, the former Director of Central Intelligence, the current Chairman of the Foundation of Defense of Democracies. Ambassador, we thank you for your time this morning here on America's Forum.
Thanks, Eddie. Good to be with you.
Sir, as we take a look at the Prime Minister of Israel saying Israel is going to respond with a heavy hand, what do you believe will be the Israeli response to this incident?
I don't know. At times in the past, they have knocked down the houses of terrorists, and they may do something like that on a large scale. It's a very difficult problem because the Israelis are fighting with one hand behind their back, as we saw in Gaza. The world's media, with very rare exceptions, covers in great detail anybody who is injured or killed on the Palestinian side by any Israeli action, even if the Israelis are targeting explosive storage, and it's been put inside a school by the Palestinians. The Palestinians, no matter what they do not get hostile press from about 90% of the world's press. So it's Bibi has a tough road to hoe here to figure out how to respond effectively and sternly and toughly, but to do so in such a way that doesn't give the world's press an opportunity to tilt yet again against Israel.
And Jim, the reaction of our own president yesterday to offer words of concern and condemnation, but at the same time try to talk about striking a balance between Palestinians and Israelis. Does that rhetorical path enable the world's press to continue to try, for lack of a better term, to cop a plea for the Palestinians and Hamas?
I think it's inadequate, to put it mildly. Look, 1/6 of Israel's population is Palestinian Arabs, most of them Muslims, a few of them Christians. And they have their own representatives in the Israeli Knesset. They had a cabinet member not long ago. They have a Supreme Court justice. They have their own press. And they go to sleep at night without worrying that anybody's going to kick down the door and kill them. If the Palestinians treated Jewish settlers in the West Bank, let's say, as well as the Israelis treat the Palestinian Arabs who are citizens of Israel, we wouldn't have any problem here. They would be living comfortably together. So I don't regard two-sided statements of the sort that the president made, everybody has to calm down and so forth, as particularly helpful or accurate in terms of what's going on in that part of the world.
Ambassador, as we take a look at the MO, the two attackers with the gun, the knives, and the meat cleaver, reminiscent of what we saw with that lone rat attack in New York City the other week. Are we seeing these tactics blur, or could there be ISIS involvement with Hamas? About 30 seconds to answer, Jim.
I think this is probably individuals and small groups doing their thing. ISIS is mainly interested in expanding the territory it controls so it will have a caliphate, a little empire that it can grow. And I think that these individual acts of terrorism, horrible as they are probably organized in small groups, as distinct from some of the hideous big undertakings, massacring whole villages and so forth that ISIS gets into.
Jim Woolsey, we'll leave it right there for now. Ask you to stay with us through the break. There's lots more to talk